Hello everyone and welcome back to the Graphing Calculator How-Tos for Statistics. Today I am going to be showing you how to draw a scatter plot on a graphing calculator. So we are going to be using this data here, which relates the years that a copier has aged together with the value of the copier, and we are going to draw a scatter plot to represent this data. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to put the data into our lists and enter the data into the calculator. So I'm going to press Stat, and then option 1, Edit, is already highlighted, so I'm just going to press Enter. And then I've already gone ahead and done this just to save time, but you will enter the years into L1, pressing Enter after each entry. Then you're going to use the right arrow to toggle over to L2, and then under L2, you're going to list all of the values, pressing Enter after each one. So after all of your years are in L1 and all of your values are in L2, now we are ready to draw our scatter plot. So to draw the scatter plots, we're going to go into the stat plot, which is right here above y equals. So you're going to press second, y equals. My stat plots are currently off, so I'm going to press Enter to select plot number 1. And then now that on is blinking, I'm going to press Enter so that on is now highlighted. If your stat plot 1 was already highlighted and it was already on, you don't need to do anything else. Now under type, these are all of the different types of plots that we can draw. We can draw a line graph, we can draw a bar graph, that is the box and whisker plot. And the one that is currently highlighted, that first one listed, is scatter plot. So you will select that scatter plot. Then under X list and Y list, it is asking you what lists do the X and the Y coordinates come from. Your X list should say L1, your Y list should say L2. If they do not, make sure that you delete whatever's there and change them. L1 is right here above the 1 key, L2 is right here above the 2 key. So just make sure X list says L1, Y list says L2. For the marks, whatever you think is easiest to see. I personally think this mark is the easiest to see on these little screens. If you don't have a color version, you don't even have this option and you really don't need it. However, if you press Graph, you probably can't see much, or if anything. So what you need to do is you need to zoom in on your data. So you're going to then go over here to the Zoom button. And if you select option number 9, you see Zoom Stat. That will zoom in on whatever data was in your stat menu. So select option number 9. And now you can see your scatter plot and each of these points here where each graph is ordered pairs. So 0, 12,000, 1, 10,750 are right there and right there respectively. Now I showed you guys in another video how to use a graphing calculator to calculate the equation of the regression line that goes with this data. So go ahead and go over to that other video for the steps on how to do that. But from that video, we got that the regression line was y equals negative 1250x plus 12,000. So once you have calculated your regression line, what you can do is you can press the y equals button up here. And what these are all a bunch of different lines that you can graph, and we're going to stick with the first one, y1. And we are going to type in the equation of the regression line that we found in the previous video. So we're going to type in negative 1250. Now the X key, the button that you use for any and all variables, is this one right here, this button next to alpha. It's got X, T, basically just means any of your variables. This is a generic variable button. So you're going to use that button for X, and then you're going to add to it 12,000. So once you have your regression line that we found in the previous video typed into y equals, if you press Graph again, you will now see that regression line graphed together with your scatter plot. And because, as you saw in the last video, the correlation coefficient R was exactly equal to -1, this was a perfect linear correlation. I will give you the heads up though that this will not always be the case, so just keep in mind that your line will not always go through every single point if you do not have a perfect linear correlation. So that is it for using a calculator to graph scatter plots. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.